while everything else stays the same. They are about confirming that the state itself is strong enough to sustain political choice without external supervision. In other words, the goal is not to stage elections that look good on paper. The goal is to build elections that make sense in practice. That's why Traoré keeps repeating one idea in different forms. Sovereignty before procedures. Because procedures without sovereignty produce fake democracy. But sovereignty with procedures can produce something real. So instead of elections being a risk to national stability, they become a reflection of it. Not a battlefield for foreign interests, but a mirror of domestic power structures. Not a contest over who pleases donors best, but a process shaped
Merriweather, because security is a private matter. What can I do for you? A helicopter will be with you shortly.
That is no longer designed abroad. It doesn't mean choice disappears. It means choice is anchored in a state that actually exists. And that's the shift Traoré is betting on. That Africans no longer need imported political models to validate themselves. They can build their own, imperfect, evolving, but sovereign. So elections in Burkina Faso are not being abolished. They are being decolonized. Which leads to the next question. If elections are no longer
We got your back.
to impress the outside world, how will they change the relationship between power and ordinary Burkina Faso citizens themselves? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. What's strange is not what the government did. What's strange is the reaction to it. There were no mass protests, no nationwide outrage, no viral campaigns demanding the commission back, no real resistance at all. And this is the part that confuses foreign analysts the most. They keep asking, why are people so calm about losing an independent electoral body? The answer is uncomfortable, because most people had already emotionally divorced from it long before it was resolved. For years, young Burkina Faso watched elections come and go without anything changing in their lives. Different faces, same problems. Insurgency kept spreading. Jobs never arrived. Prices kept rising. Foreign companies kept extracting. Presidents changed, but power felt frozen. So the commission slowly lost its meaning. It became symbolic, a ritual object, something that existed on TV, but not in real life. Gen Z didn't experience it as a source of freedom. They experienced it as a stage prop. They saw politicians campaign, win, and then disappear into the same system. They saw international observers certify results while nothing improved. They saw democracy used as a word, not as a force. So when the commission was removed,
Our job here is done. Moving out.
Taken away. It felt like something already dead was finally buried, and something better was given. That's why there was no emotional shock. People weren't attached to the institution. They were attached to outcomes. And the outcomes under the old system were insecurity, poverty, humiliation, dependency, and endless promises. So when Traoré centralizes power openly, it doesn't feel like betrayal. It feels like clarity. At least now the power structure is visible. There's no pretending that an independent body decides anything. No pretending that elections are neutral. No pretending that foreign-funded institutions represent local will. For Gen Z, this feels less fake. Not more free. Not more just. But more honest. They know where power sits now. They know who controls it. They know who to blame if things fail. Under the old system, blame was always scattered. The president blamed the commission blamed the courts blamed the Constitution, and the Constitution...
Hey, just bring him straight back to the office once you got him. It's time for me and him to have a chat about the access codes. We'll leave his car in the garage so it's all set for the auction.
That matters more than abstract institutions. Because when life is unstable, people prefer visible authority over invisible systems. They prefer control over complexity. They prefer a clear center of power over 1,000 overlapping actors. This is why the emotional reaction isn't resistance. It's curiosity. People aren't asking, is this democratic? They're asking, will this finally work? And that mindset changes everything. Once a population stops measuring politics by procedures and starts measuring it by results, institutions lose their sacred status. They become tools, disposable tools. If something doesn't produce security, dignity, or improvement, it loses emotional legitimacy, no matter how democratic it looks on paper. So the commission didn't fall because people hated it. It fell because people stopped believing it mattered, which leads to the most dangerous psychological shift of all. If people no longer believe elections can change anything, and no longer feel attached to electoral institutions, then what exactly are they expecting politics to deliver instead? This is where the story changes completely, because power in Burkina Faso is no longer being designed around procedural exit. It's being designed around performance through formal rituals, elections every few years, international observers, and legal transfers of power that looked clean on paper. But in reality, those exits didn't mean much. Governments rotated, but the structure stayed the same. Poverty stayed, insecurity stayed, foreign influence stayed. So the question Traoré is really asking is not how do leaders lead? It's why should leaders stay if they fail? In this new model, the exit is no longer just a ballot. The exit is results. If the state delivers security, territorial control, economic recovery, dignity, sovereignty, then leadership retains legitimacy. But if it fails to deliver those things, legitimacy collapses, not legally, but socially. People withdraw support. The narrative shifts. The symbolic authority dissolves. This is not about trapping power. It's about tying power to performance. Instead of leaders surviving because they won a procedural contest 5 years ago, they survive because people feel their lives are improving now. That's a much harsher standard, because ballots can be manipulated. But lived reality cannot. You can fake an election. You cannot fake security in villages. You cannot fake food prices. You cannot fake jobs. You cannot fake national pride. So in this system, elections don't disappear. They transform. They become a measurement of trust, a signal of mood, a test of loyalty, a mirror of reality. Not the only source of legitimacy, but one part of a much bigger equation. And that's the deeper shift Burkina Faso is making. Power no longer depends on international permission. It depends on domestic performance. Not on what observers say, on what citizens experience. Which means the real risk for Traoré is not losing an election. The real risk is failing to deliver results. And in a population that has already lost patience with symbolic politics, failure won't be forgiven quietly. So Burkina Faso hasn't eliminated political exit. It has simply changed its form from vote every few years and hope to deliver every day or lose credibility. And that leads to the final question that defines this entire new system. In a model where legitimacy comes from performance instead of permission, how long can any leader survive without real, visible change? Let us know in the comments section. Did Traoré do the right thing? Do you want to watch more videos like this?